got to jump forward a little. This season, so confusing to me. I mean, I just remember talking to you a year ago, literally, for a long time. And I got off the phone. I said, I don't know if this guy is crazy or because you said, I'm coming back. I'm working harder than ever. A surprise. Did you ever think you weren't going to come back? And was last season a surprise? And what was the thing that drove you to get there, to have the kind of season you had?
I mean, it was a crazy, crazy process. And I remember that conversation we had about a year ago.
My wife was wondering. I was like an hour and a half late for dinner. She's like, where are you?
Yeah.
And then after I told her, she still didn't believe me.
Well, I didn't have anywhere to go, so I was just bored. So I like keeping you on the phone. But yeah, I mean, everything was a surprise. I mean, I cannot begin to describe how dark those days were. I created this incredible hole for myself, 13 and 14, and yeah, I mean, it was terrible. And sometimes you have advisors. We're going to talk a little bit about mentors, and you have lawyers. And for me, the healing process started when you wish you can blame those guys, the advisors or the lawyers, but at the end of the day, I had to look in the mirror and realize that this is on me. I'm the quarterback of this team. I put this team together. I made every decision, and it was brutal, ugly, bad decisions. And it's on me. I have to own it. And once I took full control and responsibility of all my poor decisions, then I thought that the healing process began. Shortly after that, you and I spoke. And even then, though, I still had some enormous challenges I had to get through internally with my family, with my friends, with my daughters.
Teammates.
I mean, that was even further along, right? I mean, I needed to do a lot of work personally, professionally, working on myself, digging really, really deep into my childhood. Sometimes as adults, the history is so painful that we create blind spots and we forget. We forget some of the ugly things that happened in your life early on, and then you build a straight line to decisions you make as an adult. And is an evolution. You try to always, you never really get there. You just continue to work at it, and I'm still a work in progress.
You seem a little emotional about that. Is there something particularly that gets to you? Was that an emotional real time for you when you're going through that?
Yeah. Look, obviously, the time off, the suspension that I served was, I think when I look back 5 years from now, if we all meet again for another party, I would say that whole Biogenesis scandal is single-handedly the best, greatest thing that ever happened in my life. Because it gave me an opportunity to take stock into my life, to look in the mirror and realize that you are responsible and accountable for everything you do, every decision you make. And that's important. But the other thing, Brandon, that I think is what you sensed that I got a little emotional about was, no matter what I had to face in New York or the media or my teammates, it was the one conversation I had to have with my daughters about a month before spring training. And I thought about this talk for like 4 months, and I needed 4 months of waking up and actually rehearsing what I'm going to tell my daughters. And fortunate for me, Cynthia, my ex-wife, their mother, is an incredible lady and a very good friend. And she has her master's in psychology. And she and I together, she kind of got me through that. And obviously I broke down, and it was a very emotional talk. And I didn't know what they would say. And the truth of the matter is, Brandon, if they said, Dad, we want you to stop playing baseball, that would have been it for me. But
so you thought about it. Maybe there was a chance you weren't going to come back and play.
Oh, absolutely. There's no question. I mean, like, I would wake up at night sometimes, in the middle of the night at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I would see my team playing in New York or Oakland or, the Rangers, and it was so painful to watch on TV. And I'm looking up at the ceiling, kind of wondering, like, how in the world did I put myself in this mess? What have I done to myself? And it was incredibly painful.
So, regrets? In a nutshell, I mean, if you were to do anything over again, do you feel like you went through that process and now you're a better person, or do you regret maybe just even going down some of those roads?
Oh, I mean, obviously I have incredible regrets, and I wish I would have made better decisions. But in another way, those decisions, if you're able to overcome them, and the one thing I will say this is, you don't have to be defined by all our mistakes, right? How you come back matters too, and I think we can all take that to heart.
Who's living a perfect life anyway? For the most part, I mean, but you're on a you're on the stage on a microscope, so we get to kind of share all the good and the bad. What do you tell a 10-year-old? What advice do you give them, having looked back on your life? What do you tell the 10-year-old Alex?
Well, I don't.
If you had a chance to go back.
I don't think I'm in a position to give anyone advice. But
Wow.
That's for sure. Well, it's like I told Jimmy Fallon, I wouldn't kiss any mirrors if you ever did a photo shoot. And if you want to get a suntan, just do it at home, not in Central Park.
All right.